This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar for Monday, Yom Sheni, Monday, the first day of Shvat. And it resets, went through a whole cycle, and we are now back up here again. So it went through 90 days, a whole mercurial year, and now we're back to box number 8, which is the first day of Shvat. And what's interesting about this cycle is that it is the last one. After 13 and a half years, this will be the final official cycle. I mean, I'll still have the calendar. I'm still be studying the calendar, but it's the last 90-day period that it will be counted this way. It started the counting around July 1st, or the 5th day of Tammuz, that beginning of Tammuz of last year, and now it went through from Tammuz to Tishrei. That was a 90-day period, and from Tishrei to Teves, another 90-day from Teves to, I'm sorry, from Teves to that now they're starting Shvat up until Nisan, and this will complete at Nisan, and it'll be done. So it's very exciting. And that coincides with the finishing of the Tekus, God willing, the 317 unanswered questions. It's really more than that, because some of these Tekus have multiple questions, but it's 317 Tekus in the Babylonian Talmud, which I started on June 19th of 2025, and it will complete around the same time that this thing completes. And so it'll be like Shvat, Adar, and then Nisan. So then when it hits the ER part over here, when it comes around again to ER, done. So today is Monday, January 19th of 2026. And this is the Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar. And it's basically a lunar and solar calendar. It's both Jewish and secular calendar together in one, and it's a gematria calendar. So basically the way it works is that there's two numbers on the calendar on any given day, one for the sun, one for the moon. In this case, the first of Shvat is going to be 8, so the moon number will be 8, and the sun number, since we're on the 19th day of January, any 19th day in this dispensation is always going to be here, down here in the bottom, box 31. So what you do is you go 31 plus 8 is 39. So 39 is the number for today, so to speak. The number, that's how it's. So 39, you would think of what equals 39. And I can think of a lot of things that equal 39. 39 is, according to Rabbi Tovi Singer, 39 is the amount of times it says the word Mashiach in the Tanakh, in the Hebrew scriptures. And so that's interesting. And I found interesting also, as I counted the amount of words that are in the portion of the Shiluach Hakan, the mitzvah of sending away the mother bird. If you want to take the eggs, then you need to send away the mother bird. And there's all kinds of secret meanings in that verse, but it's in Deuteronomy 21 or 22. I can't remember now. But one or the other. Anyway, in that verse, in that portion, I'm going to check right now just to make sure. Put on pause. Okay, I went and checked, and it's actually in Deuteronomy 22. 22 verses 6 and 7 is the portion of the Torah that describes the mitzvah called Shluach Hakan, meaning sending away from the nest. Sending of the nest. And there's all kinds of mystical and messianic interpretations of that portion, but what's interesting is that I've counted it many times, that the amount of words are 39 words in that make up that whole portion. And according to our singer, the word Mashiach appears in Torah 39 times. He says this many times. So it's kind of interesting that as the same matches up. But what's even more interesting is that in the word Hamalach HaGoel, the way it's written in the Torah, is the word HaGoel is written without a vav. Normally, HaGoel would be Hey, Gimel, Vav, Aleph, Lamed, HaGoel, and it would be the same. If you rearrange the letters, it could be Geulah. It would have the numerical value of 45. However, in the Torah, when it says in Genesis 48:16, when Jacob was blessing his grandsons Ephraim and Menashe, and the famous blessing of Hamalach HaGoel Oti Mikol Ra Yivarech Et HaNe'arim, etc. And he was saying, the angel that redeemed me from all evil. What's interesting is that word HaGoel in that verse is spelled without a vav. And if you spell HaGoel without a vav, it will equal 39. So there's three different counts. And this is something that's really kind of out there, but I think since it's the same number, might as well bring it in. One time there was Rabbi Singer was doing this calculation with Daniel 9 that it kind of came up to, it was like if you do it according to a certain calculation, it'll be 9 years too late. It will come to 39 AD, CE, whatever. So basically, it's interesting that number came up again. He's saying that the Daniel 9 prophecy to when the Messiah would come is off, and really it's going to come out to not 30 but 39. Even it's a wrong interpretation. It's wrong. It's like it's going to be not. He's according to his calculation, it was wrong. But my point is that he's talking about the Messiah, and that number comes up again, 39. So that's just interesting that those things all match up with 39, and I remember doing there's different gematrias of different karbanos, like I think chatas, but not in the regular gematria. There's a type of gematria called ordinal gematria, which is where you just do the letter, like aleph is 1, bet is 2, and then when you get to 10, it's yud, and then kaf is 11, and then lamed is 12. You don't skip by tens like you do in normal gematria. And there's several, like asham, chatas, I think ola, several of them are 39 also. Several of these sacrifices in ordinal gematria equal 39. It's just that number keeps showing up. So I think that number is what is today. And I don't know what that has to do with January 19th. I could think of a few reasons, but I'll leave that aside for now. January 19th, and you have also, it's Rosh Chodesh Shvat. And right here is where we're starting. And this, again, will be the last cycle. You call it a mercurial year because Mercury goes around 88 days, which is about 3 months. And it also connects with Moshe Rabbeinu, who was hidden for 3 months. He was another redeemer. He was the first redeemer. We're reading about the story of the Exodus now in the Torah. And so it's these 90 days or 3 months comes up a few times in Tanakh. One time is with Moses, like we said in Exodus chapter 2, where his mother hid him for 90 days. But 90 days was also the time when Tamar was, I think, in Genesis 38, I believe, when she was shown to be pregnant. So it says it was about 3 months. And then you also have another case of which is also messianic, because she was pregnant with the twins of Zerach and Peretz, which are the patriarchs of the Messiah. So you see another messianic reference. But there's yet one more messianic reference in, I think it's in 2 Samuel chapter 6. I'm not exactly sure, but it was a story of bringing the ark back. King David bringing the ark to Jerusalem, and the story of Peretz Uzzah, it's interesting because Peretz, I didn't think about that, but Uzzah, when they were bringing the ark back, Uzzah put his hand forth and he died. He touched the ark and it zapped him basically. But what King David did was he took the ark and he brought it to a different Levite by the name of Oved Edom Hagiti. And the ark, it says that the ark blessed him, blessed his house, his family, and I'm guessing maybe he didn't touch it like Uzzah did, but still, it's kind of mysterious why Uzzah was touching it. And in one account, I think in Chronicles, I forgot which one, it says it's because it was falling. I mean, it looked like he was just trying to uphold it from falling, and yet it still killed him. So it's kind of mysterious why he died, but it's possible. We don't know all the details. Tuma and Tara means ritual impurity and purity and impurity were big in those days. It's possible, maybe I don't know. Maybe he was impure at some level, and that's what zapped him. We don't know. I'm just taking a guess. There's reasons that are not revealed in the scripture why Uzzah was killed. But anyway, the point is that the verse says is that when King David brought the ark to the house of Oved Edom, it remained in his house for this amount of time. Again, 3 months. And so I'm not exactly sure what the messianic connection is with Uzzah, with Oved Edom, but I can tell you that for sure, without a doubt, what Oved Edom means and how it's connected with this calendar. Because, it's also mysterious why a Jew would be named Oved Edom. Why would a Jew, a Levite, nonetheless, be named Oved, a servant of Edom, of Asaph? Why is a Levite being a servant of... Asaph wasn't known, at least on this level. We don't know what he's capable of, or his higher levels of holiness, or if he repented, or anything like that, or if he can be brought back. But at the simple level, Asaph was not really a good guy. So why would a Jewish person be named in that time, biblical times, even today, anytime? Why would someone be named Oved Edom, the servant of Edom? What's the meaning of that? So I don't know the exact meaning of that in that context, but I can say that in this context, it's very meaningful. That in a certain sense, this work is Oved Edom. It is a work of an Edomite work. And before you jump to any conclusions, I'll explain what it means. It's not that you're serving Asaph, but it's that there's two ways of approaching Torah study, and there's a way that is not used in Judaism today. It's the way of mathematics. Yes, you have some outliers and just outlandish people who are delving into Bible codes, but they're not really in the mainstream of Judaism. The mainstream of Judaism today does not use mathematics to analyze the Torah. It's not the mainstream. You might have a few that do that, but there is one that is the closest to the mainstream as I can imagine. Maybe not a lot of people know who he is, but certainly many people do know who he is. He's from the Chabad stream, although he has his own method, and he did, at least not so much anymore. Now not so much anymore, and all I can say is I wonder why, but I'm just I'll leave it at that. It's kind of a rhetorical question. But this is Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburg, may he be well. He wrote many books on Chassidut, Kabbalah, and surprisingly, mathematics. And what's interesting is that he was much more into mathematics in the past. Like if you watch his videos of like in the 90s and in the early 2000s and 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, he's dealing with gematrias and mathematics, not just gematria, but real mathematics, like number theory, like triangle numbers, square numbers, and how they show up in the verses of the Bible, and how the Bible can be analyzed by using what they call square number verses or triangular number verses. Really interesting stuff, and that mathematical approach is not Jewish. I mean, I just don't like to say it, but it really isn't. It's like it's not mainly Jewish. Let's put it that way. Using the most rabbis speak, they're not going to bring in mathematics. I guarantee you go onto the internet today and you start to really look at who's talking in the frum world, the Torah world. No one's talking mathematics, but mathematics can be equated to in the universities, and that would be Esav. That's Edom. Okay, that's like your engineers, mathematicians, physicists. They're using mathematics to actually understand what they're doing. And I don't know how many people today, and even Rabbi Ginsburg, I'm not seeing him do that anymore. He's just talking like in the very Jewish way, just explaining the verses and explaining ideas and philosophies and concepts in Torah and explaining things, but not using mathematics. Well, this thing is purely Edom in that sense, in that it's just mathematical. It's explaining Torah and these concepts only at a mathematical and numerical level. So in that sense, this is Oved Edom, and it is interesting why the Ark blessed Oved Edom. It blessed him, and this is blessing me, and I hope it blesses many others because of its approach. So just think about it. The Ark stayed in Oved Edom's house for 90 days, for 3 months. It says, it's in the verse, Shlosh Chodashim. And this calendar is exactly that amount of time. So that's the connection between Oved Edom, the Ark, the blessing, and why Oved Edom is connected to something holy.